The most familiar natural satellite of the Earth is the Moon that we see in the night sky. Many other planets in the solar system also have satellites, and the one that is attracting scientists' attention is an ice-covered satellite, a frozen moon called Europa. Europa, a frozen moon with a high possibility of extraterrestrial life? Europa is the fourth largest of Jupiter's satellites and is located second closest to the planet. Europa is a bit smaller than our moon, but has twice as much water as Earth. Because Jupiter is so far away from the Sun, about 770 million kilometers, and since there is no air, the average temperature is negative 170 degrees Celsius. Even when the sun is shining and the temperature rises, it stays close to negative 150 degrees Celsius. At these temperatures, the water freezes very hard. In fact, the picture of Europa transmitted by Voyager 2 in 1979 shows it to be a frozen moon covered by vast amounts of ice. Scientists who saw this figured that all water on Europa would be ice. Yet they also noticed that Europa's surface was very smooth. Satellites without air, craters are left behind due to asteroid collisions, but there was no evidence of that on Europa. That means that the craters left on the ground were somehow being removed. Scientists soon began to suspect the presence of a liquid form of water on the moon and that the craters were being removed by some sort of flow. A photograph of Europa transmitted from the Jupiter probe in 1995 confirmed this idea. There were brown stripes between the thick layers of ice on Europa's surface, evidence that its ice was breaking and flowing. And on September 26, 2016, NASA announced multiple giant water jets were found on Jupiter's Europa satellite moon. The successful observation of water jets confirmed the existence of a liquid form of water. It is thought that beneath the surface of thick ice, there is an ocean 100 kilometers deep. Considering that the deepest sea on Earth, the Mariana Trench, is about 10 kilometers deep, Europa may have a sea at least 10 times deeper. So how can water jets and liquid water exist on a moon with a surface temperature of negative 150 degrees Celsius? It's because of the presence of the largest planet in the solar system, Jupiter. The tide-generating force caused by Jupiter's incredible gravitational pull causes Europa to stretch and compress. During this process, tremendous heat is created from the friction in the core and rocky crust. This frictional heat melts Europa's ice and turns it into a liquid sea form. The ice layer on the surface also cracks, and water jets spout between the cracks. The discovery of the water jets leads to the possibility of the existence of life in Europa's sea. That's because liquid water, the most important condition for life, exists there. Also, the thick ice on the surface and the deep sea of Europa blocks Jupiter's radiation in place of air, and organic chemicals from comets can enter the underground sea through the circulation. Europa is thought to have volcanic activity, like Io, another of Jupiter's moons. If volcanic activity is occurring in the Europa Sea, then it is very likely that nearby temperatures are maintained at a level where life forms can exist. There could also be abundant compounds erupted from volcanic activity. This is similar to the environment of the hydrothermal vent found in the deep seas of Earth, where diverse populations of organisms are found. Because of the thick ice layer, there would be little to no light in the deep sea. But because life forms exist in the hydrothermal vent, which has a similar environment to the deep sea of Europa, it is thought that life forms could also exist on Europa. NASA plans to launch a probe named Europa Clipper as early as 2020. It will be equipped with a high-resolution camera, ice-penetrating radar, and a magnetometer to measure the salinity and depth of the ocean. This will allow us to discern Europa's water characteristics and explore its surface composition without actually landing on the surface. One of Europa Clipper's most important missions is to investigate potential landing points for the proposed Europa lander. NASA plans to send a probe that can land directly on Europa if there is a high possibility of the existence of life forms based on the data sent by Europa Clipper. In fact, Europa is considered to have the highest probability of extraterrestrial life in the solar system. Hence, if even some form of primitive life were to be found on Europa, it would be the greatest discovery in the history of human space exploration. Keep in mind that since Europa's gravity is so low, the water pressure in the deep sea is also low, so the possibility exists that there may be even bigger life forms on Europa. Wouldn't that be amazing?